So we are kind of going to be wrapping up because you and I have covered so many amazing things today. And I
Mhm.
always like to talk about kind of three important things that I have pulled from the conversation. And you and I align on so many things, which is so great.
Mhm.
I think the first thing about dating intentionally that you and I have discussed is getting clarity around what you want. So you had said very early on in this podcast interview about the fact that even before you are done with your divorce, being able to kind of evaluate your intentions around what you want your future to look like and getting clarity around that. So in your divorce process, you are communicating and able to kind of navigate with that clarity so you don't act, react, behave in certain ways that aren't going to get you that outcome, right? Because you have a vision for your brighter future. You know what's going to be important, and it's really imperative in the divorce process that you stay aligned with yourself. So that is number 1. Number 2 is just about the fact that making sure you're not trying to fill a void in dating, that you're beginning to date intentionally, and that you are observing as you go. So each piece of information that you're bringing in from somebody that you're dating, it's almost like it's being filed in a way allow for you to recognize, is this a repeat behavior? Is this something that's familiar to me that might feel good in the moment, but I know could flip pretty quickly? And being able to really make sure you're looking and evaluating those signs. And what we didn't talk about is actually pulling out a journal and making sure you're track of some of the things that might be things that you're not trusting yourself about. So making sure that you're writing those things down, evaluating them, thinking through, what does this actually mean that this action has happened? Is it very similar to what I was dealing with in the past, and having that recognition? Because again, we don't want to end up in the same kind of narcissistic behavioral disorder relationship as we were, because we know that those don't end in a warm and fuzzy way. And the last piece of it is just kind of regaining that sense of self. Both of us have agreed the fact you don't want to rush into things if you haven't done the work on yourself, because you have to do the hard work. And it's not just about talking to somebody, it's about learning and writing and journaling and doing mindfulness work, learning how to do mindset mastery type work, understanding how to manage your mindset. It is going to be so important that you do that as you move forward in your dating process, because you're not going to get all of this from somebody else. If you're out there trying to fill that void, the void's never going to be filled unless you fill it with your own self. And it goes back to those three kind of circles, and making sure that anyone you're dating, you have togetherness, but you have independence too. And maybe you have been in a codependent relationship in your past, but it doesn't mean you can't learn how to be different in the future and create a really strong sense of self. Because if you're confident, if you have self compassion, if you know how to love yourself, you will end up being better in a relationship, because you can show up for yourself versus only for somebody
Mhm.
else to get into that more healthy environment. So I know I kind of added some things into that, but it was more of an interpretation of our conversation and how people can take that moving forward.